Today we're going to be talking about Google Analytics, and what I'm going to be doing, and I'm fine with providing these slides to you. You'll see they're not like, I'm fine with providing them, but we're going to go back and forth between slides and actually looking at Google Analytics data. Now, if at any point you want me to pull up your data and go over it, what I would just ask you to do, and I'll show you how to do, is give me admin access just for now, so we can just put it on the screen without people logging in and out of things. And then you can just revoke my access after the workshop. So, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But the main thing, just so that you know, whether you have Google Analytics on your site or not, you actually have stats that are on your web host. Now, most people do. If you have Bluehost, things I learned, hi, come on in, have a seat. They're not automatically turned on if you use Bluehost. Things I learned. But every other web host I've ever dealt with has stats on their server. And let me just show you mine as just an example. So a lot of web hosts use an interface what's called cPanel. It's short for control panel. It looks like it was designed in the 1990s because it probably was. And once you're in your cPanel, like all of what we like about it is that it's a really standard interface. And like I said, lots of different web hosts use this. And one of the things they have in here, I'm just gonna look for it. So stats, there we go. So like a little, I never know what on the page it is, but if we click on, you have your server stats, which if you look at them, it's just a series of numbers and crap, and they mean nothing to me. But this AW stats program is something that your web host probably has on it. So let me just, I'm going on ours here. And I have a secure certificate, so as you see, welcome back to the 90s, folks. So even if you don't have any stats on your website right now, you would have access to something like this theoretically, unless you're on Bluehost. It's the only host I've ever seen that doesn't have it automatically turned on. But at the very least, you can get an idea of your traffic. You can get a little bit idea of like, by day. I guess by day of the week. So you're seeing this interface and you're thinking, okay. And I can see country data, I can see data by certain IP addresses. And all this to say is that, as you see with this interface, first of all, you can only see things like in a certain way, in terms of like, and it's hard to, for example, compare like say one thing to another. What you would have to do is like somehow export this into, and as you see, there's like a downloads thing in the side here. You could probably download the data and put it in Excel and like have a real good time. But we don't have to do that because we're going to use Google Analytics and it's going to do that for us. But I wanted to let you know, like, don't feel like, oh my God, I haven't put this on my site yet. I don't know anything, because you do know something. So feel free to, to check this out if you do not have any kind of stat software on your website. Just know that there's something back there. It may be called AW Stats. It may be called WebStat. There's a few of them, but they all basically look like the 1990s threw up on your data, which is, fine. It's better to have something than nothing. So just, it just isn't as pretty as what we're going to be dealing with here with Google Analytics. The other caveat I'm just going to give is that Google Analytics is not the end-all be-all. There's a couple of limits to it that it's just like important to sort of know about as you're looking at your own data. First of all, it's aggregate data. This many people went to this page, this many people went to this other page, but we don't know that Becky went from this page to this page. We can't follow the path of an individual user. And you may think like, oh, that could be really valuable to have, and you can get that, but you're gonna pay for it. Because if you think about it, the amount of sort of data that would have to be stored on a server to keep that data continuously, you're gonna pay for it. But just know that you can actually do this if you want. The other thing that you can do that's much cheaper is you can have your friends over and order some pizzas and give them a task to do on your website and then watch them do it. I've had people do this before for usability testing, where you're just like, all right, okay, Leah, like I want you to go and pretend you're making a donation. And then you don't say anything and just watch them. Where are they going? Are they having a hard time? So if you want a cheap way to do that, usually a couple of pizzas are cheaper than that kind of program. The other thing to know is that there's a little bit of error built in. So for example, search engines have what's called bots that go and they index your website. So whether a bot visits your website or Carla visits your website, it doesn't know whether it's a person or not. So it logs it. So there's a bit of, so it can seem like your traffic is higher or lower depending on if you have a lot of bots or not. The other thing is there's things like location data that can be a little bit, hard to tell. So if I am here, but my internet service provider is in Southwest Harbor, it might log my visit as a visit from Southwest Harbor, even though I'm physically in Bar Harbor. So just know that there's the granularness of the data. We're getting this for free and Google's spying on us. So it's pretty good, but it's not perfect. And at a certain point, and I've only read about this, I don't actually have this problem. If you start getting too much traffic, it's not going to track it well. But when you have all those Instagram influencer dollars coming in, you can throw some money at the problem. When you have 2 million hits a day or something, and it's like, Google's not going to be able to keep up, and you're going to have to move to a paid solution. But like I said, if you're getting that kind of traffic, you're making money. So you could pay for it at that point. The other thing that I'll mention is there's a tool just to kind of keep in the back of your head, and it's called a remarketing pixel. So Google has one and Facebook has one. You sign up for it and you put it on your website, and you have to have some kind of privacy policy that discloses that you have something like this. And what it does is it allows you to take out a Google ad or a Facebook ad to people who have been to your website or who have taken specific actions on your website. And I can show you that later if you want. You can't see who these people are, but you can just see that 308 people went to your website. Do you want to take out a Google ad targeting them? Or 20 people made a purchase on your website, that have some kind of Google ID. Do you want to take out an ad to them? So just
within a certain
usually, yes, it's about 180 days, I believe. It's not forever, but it's definitely can be helpful.
Facebook or Google.
Yes, there's separate pixels for each, but they do the same thing. It's just called a remarketing pixel, and if you want to geek out on it, you can certainly learn more about it. But it involves you putting a snippet of code on your website and sort of disclosing that you're doing that to your website visitors. That's where that whole GDPC, that thing that everyone is freaking out about last April, if you are in the European Union, you have to have a way for people to opt out of tracking. In the US, you don't yet, but I know it's heading there. But at least in the US, you have to disclose that you're tracking people. So, but like I said, read about the remarketing pixel. There's this thing called freeprivacypolicy.com. Go in there, put your business name in, modify stuff, put it on your website. You're covered.
What's it called again?
Freeprivacypolicy.com. Now they will try to sell you other stuff, but just keep going through and be like, no thanks, no thanks. I don't need protection on that. It'll generate you a privacy policy you can put on your website. So a couple of things. I'm not sure how many of you are Google Chrome users like I am, but I like Google Chrome a lot, and they have what are called extensions. If you work with Google Analytics a lot, and I'll show you these on mine in a second, one of them is you can look at your Google page analytics while you're actually on your website without having to log into Google Analytics, and that's called page analytics. So you can install that in Google Chrome. The other thing is if you want to see if your Google remarketing pixel is working, or if you want to see if there's a website that's tracking you with a marketing pixel, you can use this tag assistant, and it will tell you if you're being tracked. So I can show you these if you want. So if I can't see the Google Analytics to websites that I'm not a part of, but if I go to my own website, and hold on, I have a lot of crap on here. Is it? No, that's not it. Hold on. One of these is the Google. Is this Google Analytics? Come on. Hold on. Reading off the side here. Just looking for, nope. So one of these is it's so funny. So there's another client. Let's see if it's so funny because it doesn't come up with mine, but it comes up with theirs at oh, here's all the Google data. But it'll pull down and you'll see, it does it for other people's sites, it's not mine. It'll show you what's been clicked on and stuff like that. So if you want to see your data kind of as you're navigating to your site, that is real. It kind of shows you a little bit of a view of things. That's the page analytics extension. And then the tag assistant, which I can't find, will tell you, it'll say, oh, you'll just pick the little drop down, below the extension, and it'll say, oh, this one has a Facebook ads pixel and a Google pixel. It'll tell you for sites that aren't yours whether it has the pixel or not. So if you're a marketing person and you want to sell someone some services, you could say, hey, I was noticing your website didn't have a Facebook pixel. maybe you want me to set that up for you. So just those two are kind of handy in terms of if you use this stuff a lot. The other thing that's kind of handy, which I personally just noticed the other day as I was preparing for this workshop, is when you're logged into Google Analytics, if you look in the left menu area and you go, there's this Discover, which I just covered up with there's this Discover tab, and it has all kinds of like stuff. It has classes, it has all kinds of things back there that I was like, this is a Pandora's box that I'm just going to kind of notice there and not going to open for this workshop because I have enough things I want to say about it. So I'm just know that back there is this whole wealth of knowledge and data set up. So, okay, so adding Google Analytics to your website, just in case you haven't before, it requires you to have a free Google account. So, and if you have Google Apps for your domain, you can use that as well. So basically, you're going to go to google.com/analytics, and you're going to add a new website. You're going to give it the URL, what time zone you're in, stuff like that. And then it's going to give you a snippet of code that you need to add to your website. And then what I like to do after is just check and make sure it's collecting data because, it takes a bit sometimes for that to happen. So once it's set up, you can see a fair bit of information. Now, there's no way that you can go back and add this and look at past data. So the second that you add this to your website, the stopwatch kind of starts. So often what I tell people when I'm setting up a new site for them or something is like, listen, you don't care about this right now. Let's put this on your website. And a year from now when you care, we'll at least have some data to look at. And then they're like, oh, okay. You can't go back and get the data after. So in terms of what we can see, there's just kind of a few areas, and I'll get into this in a little bit. There's they've added real-time data. So like if someone's logged onto the website right now, we can kind of see, oh, there's 3 people looking at this, or there's no people looking at this. Sometimes that can help you decide if you're going to do something right this second or not. Then you have the main areas of audience, which is the question of who's looking at my website. So things like, where are they at in the world? What kind of device are they on? What are their interests? There's interest targeting back there too. Acquisition, how did they get to my site? And we'll look at this, by the way, with some real data in a second, but just these are the main areas. So audience is who's coming to my website. Acquisition is how did they get to my site? Did they do a Google search? Did they click on a Facebook link? Did they click on an email campaign? That kind of thing. So, and then after that is behavior, which is what did they do when they got on my site? What pages did they look at? How long did they look at them? What pages did they exit on? And then conversions is, did they do what I wanted them to do when they got to my site? Did they make a purchase? Did they fill out a form? I'm trying to think of other things you care about, but those are kind of the 2 main ones. So, so what we can do is let's just log into a real Google Analytics account and check some stuff out. Gift MDI is the most interesting one, so we're just going to look at that one. Because so there's one person right now looking at giftmdi.com. And it's not me because that tab's closed. So I don't know. Jane might be looking. I don't know. Somebody might be looking. Somebody's looking at it. Maybe someone in this room is. Who knows? Yay! Hi, person. Can't see you, but you're looking at it. And it's giving me some approximate sort of like, the real time is just like, okay, let's see. Who is this person? Oh, okay. They're around here. They're in Bar Harbor. They've been on the site for less than 6 minutes. Anyway, so we have a little bit of. I'm glad someone's looking at it. That makes me feel better. Oh, they're gone. Was it one of you? And then you're like, oh, I gotta take the wind out of Nicole's sails here. Okay, so if we go under audience and overview, let's just get some kind of basic vocabulary set up. So as you see in the top right-hand corner, it's showing us a week's worth of data, and that's the default. But if we wanted to, we could change this to whatever we wanted and say, okay, let's look at a year's worth of data-ish, a little over a year, and we'll see more data, right? And in terms of if you're looking for patterns, it's really hard to look at like a week's worth of data and like make giant decisions about your life. But so let's look at a year's worth of data just because that's more fun. And, and we can even, if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to compare, this year, last year to the year before, we could do that with a comparison and it would give us 2 different colored lines, 2 different colored numbers, and we could compare those things. But we won't do that for now because it's already confusing enough. So we have users and we have sessions. Now you're thinking like, okay, what's the difference between those two things? Well, a user is an individual IP address. So like this computer has an IP address, this phone has an IP address, this computer has an IP address. That's a user. And a user is counted, and I guess a new session begins if that person has left the website for 30 minutes or longer. They will start a new session. So it makes sense that sessions will always be higher than the amount of people because people will go to the website. You'll hopefully have at least one repeat visitor. If you don't, please call me because I want to see that. So sessions is how many times they've gone onto the site. And like I said, it kind of times you out after about 30 minutes. And then we have, users versus new users, right? And we see in this little pie chart on the side that, we have new visitors versus returning visitors. And this is a really, honestly, this is pretty typical. It's usually between 10 and 20% are returning and a bunch of them are new. So that's like data that I look at all the time that looks pretty normal to me. My returning is a little lower than I'd like it, but I'd like it to be closer to 20%, but hey, here we are. And then page views is how many pages they looked at. So a user might look at, so if you do pages per session, so like in this session, so if you divide this by this, you get, if you divide sessions by page views, that's what you get. So most people look at more than one page. Always nice. And then there's a session duration, and that's how long they spent on the site during their session. And bounce rate is how many people loaded a page and didn't go anywhere else. Now, I've seen bounce rates between 60 and 80% for most websites, and people tend to freak out about it. I'll be honest, I think that sometimes, like if you want people to call you and you have your phone number on the top page of your homepage, they found what they needed. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think people get freaked out about bounce rates a little bit too much sometimes, but that's just my personal opinion. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Bounce rates. So is bounce rate, I always get a little confused about this. It means those people that bounced from your landing page or from whatever page they first went to. Maybe they had an extension on there. They had a slug on there and then they left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the page they land, whatever the page they landed.
So it means that they didn't go to an additional page.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And they could have come in on your home page. They could have kind of done a Google search and come in on your about page. Right.
And that many people just do that one page. And then
yeah. Yeah. So, they didn't like load anything additionally. So, yeah. So anyway, so those are kind of the general numbers. And if we want to drill down further, we can. And I always appreciate drilling down to geographic location because, this is when especially if you have like a physical business or something like that. And, you want people who are, physically in your area. We can see country data. And what I also like about Google Analytics is you'll notice there's kind of a visual representation of data. And then for those of you who like charts like I do, there's the chart view. But you can also drill down further and say, okay, let's look at the United States. Okay. Apparently we're big in Oregon. Who knew? And then we can go into Maine and we can see, and again, like remember, there's a little bit of error in here, but at the very least, like if you've spent a bunch of money on a print ad on boston.com to reach the greater Boston metro area, you could actually go the week that you bought the ad and see if there are people in Boston actually looking at your website. So, so what you want to do is, like I said, there's kind of a lot of different things that you can look at. Hold on, did I turn on interests? I think I did. So you may ask yourself, oh, did I not? Hold on, I turned this on for a different site. Hold on. I think it's an anchor space. So sometimes you just forget to turn stuff on everywhere. Okay. So you may ask yourself, Nicole, how does it know that people going to anchorspace.com have an affinity for food dining, cooking enthusiasts / 30-minute chefs? You know what I mean? It's like, how does it know that? And if you think about it, when you're looking around the internet, as you see in the upper right-hand corner, I'm logged in to my Gmail account as I browse the internet. So it's putting it's kind of interesting that you can see what categories people are in. Now I will say you have to turn this on, and as you see, I forgot to turn it on for Gift MDI, but cobbler's kid. But so just know that there is some demographic data in there, and I think they're getting it from I have to figure out why we're not an admin on our own account here. But anyway, so there's a fair bit of sort of audience data you can look at. In particular, what can be interesting is mobile device usage, especially if you don't have a mobile-friendly website and you're trying to get your employee or your boss or whatever on board. You can see the breakdown of mobile versus desktop versus tablet. And in this view, we have 51% of our traffic is desktop, 41% is mobile, and 7% is tablet. And for your business, this might be different. Maybe yours skews more toward mobile, especially if your people are on vacation or something like that. They might be doing most of their research from the phone. And what we're going to get into later on is, okay, there's certain things I'm saying and you're like, I care about that. I don't care about that. And what we can do is make what's called a custom dashboard of all the data you care about. And we can set it to automatically email you, or automatically email your boss, or automatically email your board a special report every single month of just the data that you care about. So we'll get into that in a second. I just want you to know that you certainly don't have to care about all these different things. I just kind of wanted to show you the kinds of things we know about the people that are visiting our website without them saying anything. Under acquisition, and overview is always a good place to start because it kind of gives you a little bit of context. And again, I like looking at a year's view, to see these things. Most people have organic search is, any kind of search engine, not just Google, any search engine. And people think, well, everyone uses Google. Well, Facebook uses Yahoo Maps. Siri for a while was using Bing as its default unless you changed it. So you have to care about other search engines because people use them. And more importantly, some people don't like Google. Some other big companies don't like Google and they use the products. So organic search is not just Google. It's just all sort of, I looked for a word and got to your website. Then we have direct traffic, which is someone directly typing it in. Maybe they saved a bookmark. Maybe they clicked on a link from an email newsletter. They directly got to your website somehow. Referral is another website linking to your website. It could be a Chamber of Commerce listing. It could be you left a ranting comment on the Bangor Daily News article and left your link to your website and someone clicked on from there. Social media has its own category. And how you can tell that Google is going to care about something is in Google Analytics. You'll see it's like they'll break it out. So social used to be under referral. And then it got its own category about 3 years ago. And that's how you're like, okay, so Google cares about social. And then about a year ago, you'll see that later on, it's page load time is a whole category. So, okay, Google cares about how fast my page loads. So it kind of gives you a little bit of like insight into what Google cares about by what it decides to break out of your data. And then sometimes you have email is in here, but for some reason, I guess people don't talk about us over email. But in terms of breakdown, a real typical breakdown I see with a lot of small businesses is roughly 50-ish% of traffic comes from search. That's really typical. If you have an e-commerce store, it might be closer to 80% because, if you don't have a physical presence, and online, so this might be higher. Organic search might be higher if you're an e-commerce store. With social, I usually see between 10 and 20%. So our social is kind of low here. So those are like some just typical numbers that I've seen for if I've looked at probably 300 businesses, mostly around here, different sizes. And those are really typical numbers that I see. And if we want to, so let's say we say, okay, social media, what social websites are driving you traffic? We can click on that and we can see a little bit more. We can say, okay, Facebook drives 89% of our traffic. YouTube. Okay. Anyway, so sometimes you see stuff back here and you're like, okay, an Instagram story. I've never done an Instagram story from this account. Good to know. Anyway, sometimes you see surprising stuff back here, but at the very least, we can always click and see, and you can say, okay, I paid for this special listing in a directory. Did I get my money's worth? And you could click on and see how much traffic that particular website sent to your site and get a pretty good idea of what's going on. So acquisition, how people get to your site. Behavior, pages people look at on your site. Now, the thing that people are always expecting is that their homepage gets most of their traffic. And with most people I see, it's 40% or less of their traffic is even hitting their homepage. So because of search, I might look for something and, find it within the site. So the most popular thing on this website, we wrote a blog post called Top 5 Places to Watch the Sunset That Aren't Cadillac. And that's gotten 16% of our web traffic. Yeah, you wrote it, right? So over 2,000 page views on that since whenever it went up. And I don't even remember was that the summer? I don't know if it's been up for a year or not, but anyway, so it's interesting to kind of see what content people are looking at. And also though, you can see kind of how people came in and then how they came out. So some people love this view and some people hate it. I kind of hate it, but I'm just showing this to say, okay, people came in on this sunsets, top sunrises that aren't Cadillac. So they got here, and then after that, 96% of them did not move on. But, so, 1,800 people dropped off. 63 people continued on. What did they continue on to? And we can, hold on. It's like hard to see. What did you continue on to? Come on. Hold on. I can't see that very well. It is, anyway. So you can kind of see sort of like how people navigated. If you want to just be like, oh, what pages are really pissing people off? We can see, hold on. Is it site content? Yeah. What pages really piss people off? Just kidding. But exit pages can tell us like, okay, what did people got somewhere and then left, and if that's your shopping cart page or your reservation checkout page, there might be something on there that's making them not move forward. So now I get this is all like kind of standard stuff, but the stuff you came here for is stuff like, how do I know people are doing what I want them to do? How do I know people are converting? So it's one thing to get a lot of traffic, unless you make money by having ads on your website or something like that. You're not merely making money off that traffic. You're making money if you sell something, or if you get a new email subscriber who eventually becomes a customer or something like that. And so I wanted to spend a fair bit of time today on conversions. So let's see what else I had deep thoughts about as I was doing this. Okay, really typical stuff I see. 20 to 30 hits a day on a website. People just get really, and I'm like, I've seen websites that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that only get that kind of traffic. If they're coming and then buying something, you could get thousands of people that don't buy anything. So mostly new visitors, like I said, 80% new visitors, it's pretty typical. And then, I talked about some of these things before, but the real question is like establishing a baseline for your business. Like, what does your business data look like? And then looking at ways to improve what you're currently doing versus worrying that your traffic is low or whatever. Just get a baseline first before you start making judgments about yourself. And then also too, thinking about, it's really easy to just get online and think about online stuff, but think about real life stuff too. You bought an ad in Boston.com. You send out an email newsletter every month. Does that correspond to anything that happens on your website? Do you get more purchases after that? Oh, you offered a free ebook about how to, get prepared for a whale watch. Did that drive a lot of traffic to your website? So correlating stuff to real life events can be helpful as well. So let's talk a little bit about, Let's talk a little bit about measuring sort of these conversions. There's kind of 3 ways that you can do it, and I'll go over each one of them today with examples. One is that you can look at the campaign results section of Google Analytics. So, and I'll show you that in a second. Basically what you do is, let's say you were going to write an email newsletter. What you can do is you can go to Google's URL generator and you can say, okay, this is the campaign for May of 2019. This is an email campaign, sent to our customers or something like that. And what it'll do is it'll give you a tracking link, and those tracking results will show in Google Analytics. And then what you can do is say like, okay, yes, I can open up my email marketing software and see how many people opened it and clicked through or whatever. But also, since I'm already looking at this data that's in this, you know, I guess it's not a spreadsheet. It's like this data visualization. I might as well put the stuff right in where I'm already looking at it, right? The other thing you can do is set up what's called a Google goal. And through the goals, you can make what are called goal funnels. And I'll show you that in a second. But just to let you know, you can have 20 goals. That's a fair bit of goals. That's for most people, they're not like, oh darn, I really had 150. But like, just know that there's a limit to the amount of goals you had. And most of the time, honestly, someone else, if it's anything the internet has taught us, is that someone else has already figured out how to do it. So the internet allows us to be lazy and just look for it. So let's say, for example, you use WooCommerce on a e-commerce website. Someone made a funnel for Google Analytics, and you just have to add the URLs to your thing, and it'll track them for you. You don't have to figure out what they are. Someone else already figured it out. And then what you can have so campaign results, Google goals, and then you have e-commerce tracking, which is what the numbers you probably kept seeing, the dollar amounts you kept seeing in the Google Analytics we were just looking at. And I'll talk about these things a little bit more. So the very first thing to know is that Google has what's called this URL builder. So let's say I'm like sending out the Historical Society's like, I don't know, May newsletter, right? So oops, full website URL. See, it helps to read instructions. Forgot what I was typing for a second. So that's right. This is a newsletter. Okay, so they give you some ideas, but and then email, and I might call this campaign May 2019. You'll notice when you're naming stuff that's going to live in a database, it hates spaces. It wants to fill them with something. So put an underscore, put a dash, or just put it all together. It just wants it wants to fill it in with something. So that's why the example they're giving, and I'm typing that in. And then so here it's generated a URL for me that I can add to my email newsletter. So let's say in my email newsletter, I'm like, we have all the kinds of stuff going on. Like click here, click on this button. We can add this to our little newsletter button, and it will track in Google Analytics. Now, how you get to that within Google Analytics, well, so you've done this, you've sent it out, and now it's time for you to see where it is. If you go under acquisition and then campaigns, that's where this data lives. Now, again, cobbler's kid. I'm not exactly the best at everything. I just know, I know what I should be doing. I can see, okay, interesting. I can set, so when you set campaigns, they will live here, your results of them. So just know that happened. I just learned this the other day.
Can you do it for a blog?
Yes. Yeah. It generates it generates that URL. So you can put that URL anywhere. You can put it on Facebook. You can put it, wherever you want. And when someone acts on that, it'll register as that campaign within your Google. So it just kind of signals to Google Analytics, hey, track this in my campaigns, so that you can pull them up later. So this is totally free and everything. You don't even need and then look, if you're like, oh, I don't want to put this whole thing in Facebook, you can convert to a short link, and it will do a bit.ly. It'll make you a little short. It's like, why did you do that? And then go back. Okay. So if you wanted to make a little link versus having this giant thing like sitting in Facebook looking ugly, you could do that as well. So just know that, like I said, so what you can do is you can run some campaigns, and then you can look at your results in situ of your data and be like, that worked, that didn't, onward and upward. The second thing that you can do is set up what's called a Google goal. Now, the best example I have for this is, please appreciate, I met with these people 2 months ago, and I told them they should do this, and then they did it. So rare. And what I told them to do is they're using a third-party reservation software. And you're on their Squarespace website. They use a third-party reservation software, and it kicks you back to a thank you page. And so the URL of their thank you page is thankyou.html. And so what we learned here, let me just minimize this so we can just see it. Oh no. Hold on, let me move my little toolbar here. I don't know how to minimize this toolbar. I probably should learn how to do that at some point. But Google. Oh, okay, you were going away. Sorry. You were going away. Go away. Go away. We can see that goal completions are 67. So, their page is /thank you. So they go through the reservation process and they get booted to a thank you page. Every time, if you have a website where like you are selling something or booking a reservation or something, there's always a page that people get to after a successful payment. Checkout equals success, whatever. It's different for everybody depending on what software you use, but for these people, it's /thank you. That's what everyone gets to after they've made a successful payment. So what they're able to do, so they set this goal in January after we talked, and they're able to see, okay, we've had 67 completions since then. Where did they come from? Good question. So we look at their funnel and we see that 53 sessions came from a Google search. So 53 bookings out of 67 came from a Google search. 10 came from direct traffic. So they may have seen a flyer. They might, like I said, it's hard, right? Someone typed it in and Google is not quite clairvoyant yet. So it doesn't quite know like what they typed in, just that they typed something in. And then Yahoo search for bookings. So they're able to look at this and see like, okay, we haven't gotten any bookings from Facebook. We haven't gotten any bookings from Instagram. We haven't gotten any, So again, this is a very short period of data, but the second you set this goal, it starts tracking it. It can't go back and like look at this, but from now on, they can kind of know that this is going on. So to set up your Google goal, come on, X. Okay. Don't mind, I'm just gonna keep moving this around the screen. Okay, so to set up your Google goal, if you want to do this, you have you go under conversions, which is the bottom thing in your little left menu, and it will load. It just gets a little slow. Oh, come on, it gets a little slow sometimes. And you click on goals underneath, overview. Now, there's a couple of kinds of goals you can set, believe it or not. One is you can set a goal for people getting to a certain page. What most people will do if you have some kind of checkout process is there's often like, maybe there's a login page and then there's a place where you ask them for their address and then you ask them for their shipping address and then you say you have a sort of confirm details page, right? So what you can do, each one of those pages is a different URL. So what you would do is you would set up goal, 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 goal in a funnel, and you would be able to do this like funnel visualization. So you would set up like a series, and then you could look and be like, okay, I had this many people come in and then they got to the login and 90% of people left, but most people got through. Maybe I shouldn't require the login. Or maybe I should turn it on so they can log in with Facebook instead of making a login on my site because they got here and thought, oh my God, I just want to buy this wallet that costs $25. I don't want to register for this site to do that. But in any case, it gives you a kind of an idea of what's going on. So first of all, you can make a Google URL. The other thing you can do is do a traffic goal. So let's say you want people to look at 10 pages or more of your website. You have a blog, you want people to like stay and look at a bunch of traffic. You can set up that kind of goal. So it's not just URLs. So if we just goal URLs, okay. Let's just set up a new goal just for fun. Hold on. Goals. Come on. Hold on. I'm having a complete oh yeah, I know how to do it now. Sorry. I just had this moment where I don't know if it's like aging or what, but like I'm starting to like not remember stuff I used to remember. To set a goal, you're going to go in the admin part of your Google Analytics, which is on the very bottom of your screen.
So not conversions.
No, conversions is where you're going to be able to see them once they exist. Okay. But to make them, we got to go into here, and then we go under the goals of our little, do you see the little goals flag there? The third item down underneath the view. So I'm going to click on goals, and then it's like, okay, I want a new goal. It's like New Year's over here. I'm making some new goals. So we can set all these different kinds of goals here. So I want people to make a purchase, I want people to look at a phone number or email address. I want people to read our, so like you have all these ones set up, but you can also make your own custom ones too. So I want a goal where people have added stuff to the cart. Great, add to cart. That's what I can call it, or I can call it like, call it whatever you want. Woohoo in the cart, like whatever makes you happy when you look at your report and also says something. And as you see, it says, okay, what is this goal? Is this a destination URL? Is it a duration? Like they spent 5 or more minutes on the site? Is it a pages per screen, or is it an event? You know what I mean? So for me, that would be a destination. And then we get to here, which says, okay, the URL has to equal to a certain URL. Now, we don't want to type in, we might want to say begins with or something. So maybe there's a whole process where they add it to the cart, and first they're in something called cart. And then they're in cart/checkout. Then they're in cart/confirmation. If I could put begins with, it will count everything that has that cart in the URL versus just that one particular cart page. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and if I want to, I can click verify this goal, and it says this goal would have verify this. Wait. Sorry, it's saying a number on my screen and it's not saying a number. Oh, there we go. This goal would have a 0.4% conversion rate based on the last 7 days. Okay, if your goal has a 0% conversion rate, it means it probably doesn't work. It means it probably is not a URL that's on, like, oh, zero people did that. Okay, so normally if it's above 0, it actually, at least the page exists on your website. So what I can do is say, okay, begins with cart, and I'm just gonna click save. Now the stopwatch has started. And as you see, I'm down to 18 goals because I have 2 goals already. So what I can do, starting probably tomorrow, hopefully if someone puts something in their cart, I will be able to go to my Google Analytics. I'll be able to go to my conversions. Like I said, I'm like recording my screen right now, so it gets a little bit sometimes like slow when I'm recording and clicking on a lot of stuff. And then once I go on conversions, I'll be able to see my goals, and there'll be 2 goals there. Oh, it's thinking. Goal completions. So as you see, I can see my goal URLs here, but there's, like I said, I just added that goal, so nothing has happened. So there's no data, but it'll show there. It'll show underneath my goals now that I've created that. So you have to go and you have to create these goals. And like I said, you can have up to 20, which is a fair bit, but it's not, unlimited for sure. But so maybe, like I said, goals to you aren't purchases, but maybe they're specific actions, or if someone's looking at 10 pages on your website, they're probably pretty freaking interested, for example. You know what I mean? Like, so it could be that, like, oh, okay, like people are who's lurking really hard on my site, you'd be able to tell. So we have campaigns, like I said, and we have goal URLs. Yeah, so we have campaigns, we have goal URLs, and that's just what we just went over. And like I said, if you want to make that little funnel thing to go through your checkout process, just Google, like, whatever software you have, Google goal URLs. Someone else has blogged about it. And then you have e-commerce integration. Now this one, honestly, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it can be kind of worth it if you sell stuff online. And the reason that I'm showing Gift MDI in this is because I actually remember to do this when I set up the website. I know, amazing. So underneath conversions, there's an e-commerce section. And as you see, it's been a good, it's been a good week. No, it's been a good year. I was like, we did not make that this week. We made that this year on Gift MDI. Don't tell anyone, just kidding. So we made like $3,000. We had 39 transactions. This was the average order value. And we can even see like what people bought. Like, this is how much people bought of all the different gift certificates we have on the website. And you might ask yourself, well, how do you do this? Now, most e-commerce software has like something that will integrate, and you just have to set it up. So in our case, we're using WooCommerce, and what we can do is say, okay, WooCommerce, Google Analytics, e-commerce integration. I think it was like $50, and the amount of crap you would have to do to make the, like, just spend $50. Okay. Really, like, I know it seems like a lot, but it's doing a lot in the background. And what it's doing is it connects through. It's like, okay, basically so you add it to your site. And if you're using Shopify or if you're using some kind of reservation software, there might be an extension, and it's probably paid, that will integrate with Google Analytics e-commerce. And typically it'll have you put in your Google Analytics login. It will have you like, it might have you verify that it's connected. It's relatively straightforward, but at the very least, it can give you this kind of data within Google Analytics. Now, you can also just log into your website, click on sales, and export that if you want. But because this is the interface where we're looking at data, it's kind of nice to be able to go through. Now, the other thing you'll notice is underneath e-commerce, there's all these kind of sub behaviors. So maybe we want to say like, okay, what's their shopping behavior, checkout behavior? So like, let's look at their checkout behavior. Now, in Google Goals, I told you, you can set it up manually where you go through and you put the URLs of each part of your process, or you could be a lazy jerk like me, spend $50 and like 30 minutes integrating it, and it's just going to make it work. But as you see, okay, so 64, so there's a drop off of step one, so like we can see where people are dropping off, which is that first step, right? And new visitors versus returning and that kind of thing. The other thing this allows us to do, and I'll get into this in a second, is we can create a segment of our data of people who made a purchase. So what we can do, hold on. No, I just looked there. Come on. I love how I made a category called new looker adders. Look, that's a total Nicole thing. That is not a Google thing. You can make your own. Wait, okay, thank you. No, I didn't mean to star it. I meant to check it. This is what happens. Okay. So now what I can do is I can basically put a filter. Oh, come on. Hold on one second. I can put a filter over my data. Not that this is particularly interesting, but I can say, look at my audience and be like, okay, here's my overall traffic, but here's my segment of people who made a purchase. Show. There we go. I'm just trying to figure out how to close this. There we go. Come on, close. Apply. There we go. And what I can do is I can look at, okay, here's my overall users versus the people, and then here, okay, 6 new users made a purchase of the 7 who made purchases, whatever period, this week or whatever. But I can see so you can go through all your data and kind of put this filter of, okay, here are all my customers and what they did. So if you do the e-commerce stuff, it allows you to do stuff like that. So that's like a kind of a deeper integration than the Google goal. So it might be overkill in some situations, but also it gives you a little bit more than the Google goals. Does that make sense? So it basically integrates your website database in with Google Analytics database and gives you like some feature-rich stuff where you can be like, okay, so new visitors made purchases, but not recurring visitors. Good to know. What about the people who, overview. What about people who, if I look at the demographic data of people who made purchases versus people who overall visited the website, I see that referral traffic made me some so it's a little, so the people who come to your site versus the people who buy stuff, your data can look a little different. So it's just like kind of knowing that, right? So direct traffic, what are you doing? Where are you looking at this? I can see kind of like this, and this is these are like basically little filters that you can put on things. So you can look at your data different ways. And it's not just, as you see, make a purchase. What I did was I worked with a college, and that's why I was like, oh, viewed admission, you know, so I can make a filter of everybody who looked at admissions pages. So those are people who get to admissions pages are people who theoretically either want to attend the college or want their kid to attend the college or whatever, right? They're interested in like going to the college. So what I can do is I can be like, okay, so people interested in admissions, what are they doing on the website? So, and those are people to me who have looked at admissions pages. The other audience I made for them is people who are interested in development, you know, people who were looking at the donation pages, people who had like made a donation before. So I made those filters, and what's funny is I made them in a complete other account, but as you see, they're available in my, I can add them to this. I can add those same parameters to this if I want to. But once I basically make an audience, I can sort of use it other places. So I hope, how's everyone's brains feeling? Are we at like 80% full? Are we at like 50% full? How are we doing? Some of you look a little shell-shocked, and I'm just trying to sort of like be respectful of that.
Not enough.
No, it's okay. Here's the thing. And so let's get to that. Let's get to saying like, okay, we're presenting this to a group of 10 people who have really different businesses, but like what you care about is probably like 0.1% of all of this. And so what we want to do is we want to make you a report of just the stuff that you care about. And so let's build that maybe together. So underneath this home is this customization area. And there's these dashboards. So a dashboard, this was me like playing for this workshop, but you can make your own dashboard. Aha. And that's what I'm just gonna make a new one. I'm not attached to, like, I don't even know, like I said, I was just, so if you want to, I can go and I can create a dashboard. And it says, okay, do you want to completely start with nothing, or do you want to do a starter one? Now, there's all these people that have made these Google Analytics dashboards that you can download. So there's one called Occam's Razor. I don't know, that guy's unbelievably cool. He has like 500,000 like people who use his dashboard. But let's just say, you know what, let's start with nothing. And we can call this dashboard anything. So we can call this like for the board, or for our shareholders, or for our, for staff or whatever. We can just say, so let's say that this dashboard is going to be for marketing team. So this is stuff that marketing would care about. Or I call it blank, create dashboard. So what's the marketing team going to care about? They're going to probably care about social media acquisition. Okay, so maybe we want to see a pie chart of the different social media. So we're calling this widget social media because we can call it, again, whatever we want. Looker adders, whatever. We call it like Facebook enthusiasts, whatever. We can call it anything. Okay, so now we want to say, okay, what metric, what are we adding? Where's it getting this data? So social actions. Active actions per social session. Sure. And again, I'm going to try a pie chart. I don't know. We could look at this data, and the pie chart may be a dumb way to visualize it, and then we'll switch it to something else. But I've got pie chart selected, and I'm saying, let's look at the actions per social session. Show up to 5 slices, whatever. Okay. And then I'm going to click save. Now, again, I can add that filter. Only people who made a purchase or not. And I'm just going to say save. Dimension, okay, fine. Social session. Okay, fine. Social session by social network. It'll tell you if you're messing up. There's no data for this view. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Okay, so fine. Let's change this. I have no data. Marketing team is not going to be impressed with me if I give them something without any data. So let's see. How do you spell acquisition? ACQ. Okay, that's not it. Okay, so let's see. It's all in alphabetical order, which makes you want to gouge your own eyes out, but also, let's see here. We can put our goals in here.
Social media acquisition.
Oh. Social actions, fine. Social actions, let's see if it lets us do that. Okay, no social actions. Cool. Oh, they didn't share. Okay, social actions like shared it to Facebook. So nobody went to this website and was like, yes, let me share it. Okay, fine. All this to say is we can add our, delete. We can make our own, or we can just say, you know what? We're going to go and we're going to start with something. We're going to do a starter dashboard and we're going to call it marketing team more impressed. Team more impressed. Whatever. Okay, so we can start with something and then modify it. That might be easier. So we might look at this and say, okay, new users. So this is just, it's just giving us, okay, sessions by, is our marketing team going to care about browsers? Probably not. So I can just X this out. And it's like, are you sure? Like, yes. Okay, let's see. Our marketing team is going to, like I said, and we can say, you know what, new users, let's modify this view. Let's make this, instead of a line graph, let's make it a pie chart. Let's see if it, oh, fine.
So I have to ask for forgiveness. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I was late, but it's Passover, so therefore I'm leaving. So
That's fine.
But this was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And we're going to be calling you.
Oh, no, that's fine. And you're going to get a recording of this after, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even better.
Again. All right. Take care. Let's see here. New users by social network. Maybe they'll be impressed with that. Okay, new users by social network. Okay, most of our new users are not using social media. Shocker. But it looks like, again, this is probably a dumb visualization for this particular, but what you do is you get it and you know, get rid of stuff you don't want, you add stuff you do want. You say like, oh, okay, our marketing team probably cares about social media. They probably care about what content people are looking at. They probably care about, you know, what people look at who make a purchase versus don't. So we probably want to add the purchasers to that. Okay, so you make this really, yeah, go ahead.
Could you make a chart like this and also like just whatever's important to you, but then also add in things like whatever your most important web pages are, have they been viewed? Can they also be?
Yeah, sure. So let's add a content widget. So probably the best way to show that is a table, and we'll just say, we'll call it content viewed, right? So what I don't know, we can call it whatever. And then we're going to say, okay.
So you can just arrange this and then each month have your report come in.
Exactly.
And just look at that, just whatever's most important to you.
Exactly. So so maybe we call it pages. Nope. Oh, okay, hold on. Landing page. Okay. 10 rows. Yeah. We'll start with 10 rows. Let's try that. It's like they want me to care about so much. Landing page by new session. Sure. All right. What do our new people care about? And it probably stuck it on the bottom. There it is. Okay, that looks wrong. Anyway, yes, you
That
can.
is possible.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want more dashboards, like I said, so there's, if you want to look at like, so, again, the internet has taught us, skip all the ads. Come on. So here's somebody who blogged about the 10 of the most useful Google Analytics dashboards that they've ever seen. So, and how they've, yeah, so people have like spent time making these visualizations so you can just use their brains. I mean, again, feel free to like also make your own. I'm not trying to like keep that away from you, but as you see, my performance is not necessarily perfect in this thing. Now, let's say this is everything we ever wanted in our data. We don't want to log into Google Analytics all the time. We just want a monthly report that just lets us know how we're doing, or we want to send it to the managers of our different, you know, establishments or whatever. So there's a couple of ways to do that. First of all, is we can share the link to somebody. So if they already have Google Analytics, we can share the link. We can export this into a PDF that we send via our email. So let's we want to look smart. We don't necessarily want to know you can automatically send these. You can just, download it and then send it and be like, I prepared this report for you. The other thing you can do is just click on email, and you can put this email to as many people as you want. Like I said, you can put this, it doesn't have to be to one person, and it'll do a PDF attachment, and then you have frequency. So you can do it. Oh my God, don't send people a daily report. I would kill you. But you can do weekly, monthly, quarterly. And then if you want, you could type a message like, let me know if you have any questions, whatever. And then click send. And the second that it's like scheduled, it just goes out. And I think I did this to you guys against your will.
You send this to me, but I never, ever, ever look at it.
No.
You don't.
No, what I did was I was just like, all right, I'm just going to set this to send to you. So at least you're like seeing some.
Yeah.
But I didn't customize it at all or anything.
No, just see how many hits we get, which is great, but I'd never look at it. I just carry on with my day.
See?
But thank you.
No, it's okay. That's basically how people feel about reports. They sort of feel good getting them, but they don't ever really want to look at them. But just know that you can do that, So in particular, if you have somebody who doesn't ever log into Google Analytics, you just want them to get a screenshot of kind of what's going on in their lives, you can totally do that.
If you say share, they have to have a Google Analytics account and they have to log in.
I believe so. I've never I've never done it this way,
okay.
but it just seems like you could, I guess, send someone a link to this. But yeah, I guess they would have to have a Google Analytics account. So you'd send it to someone and they'd be like, oh, I have to log in to see it. So they'd probably have to be an admin on this particular Google Analytics account to be able to see it.
Oh, so they would be able to see more than just what you set up.
Well, I mean, let's say that we're both on this account. I made this dashboard.
Right.
I could just be like, I don't think you necessarily see this. This dashboard is associated with me. Like I made this dashboard under even though we both had admin access to this account. So what I could do is just be like, I think so. I'm not entirely sure. And then I think though, what I could do is share this link with you and you'd be able to see the dashboard and be like, I believe so. I'm 80% sure that's right. I'm not, there's 20% that is, I'm not entirely sure. But I think when you create a dashboard, it lives in your account.
Even if there are multiple admins.
I believe so. Yeah. It's a good question. I should have brushed up on that. But yeah, like I said, 80% sure that the dashboards, unless you share them, are under your own account. So yeah, as I said, we talked about the thank you page, and then we talked a little bit about e-commerce integration. And we talked a little bit about segments, which is that top thing, the made to purchase people. That was a little segment. You can create other segments as well. Like I said, like I did for that university, you can make custom dashboards, which we talked about. The other thing you can do is you can set up what's called a custom alert. So probably most of you pay for shared web hosting. Probably pay like $150 a year for your web hosting. Now let's pretend that the New York Times wrote about Bar Harbor Whale Watch and you started to get a lot of traffic. And you probably might want an alert when your traffic goes above normal or something, so that if your website doesn't go offline, or also so that something is going on. You can set up an alert for like traffic or certain events happening, and you get an email when they do. And hold on, let me remember where this is. I believe it's under admin, the admin area, and then alerts. Hold on. Yeah, custom alerts. So I thought this was kind of handy because this happened to one of my friends. Is like they didn't know they were getting written about, and then like all these people went to the site and their site crashed. You know what I mean? But what we can do is we can set up a new alert and we can say when traffic is, increased by more than 10% or something ever. Or you know what I mean? Like we can make whatever alert that we want to happen. So if we get a ton of views from Facebook, I don't know. It looks like that there's a lot of different, when our sale, hopefully you're getting emails if someone makes a sale, but when our sales go above $100,000 for the day, or I don't know, something ridiculous. But point being is you can set these custom alerts that it'll email you when some of these events happen. especially in particular related to traffic. Mainly it's that you get too much traffic and your site crashes. That's like, you know, classic. And again, it's not a problem that you hate. It's just a, you know, yeah, it's just something to think about. And then content grouping is in that same area. And remember the example of the colleges that I used was I said like, okay, if I'm going to the new students part, or what's it called?
Orientation.
Thank you. Or something. I might look at the admissions page. I might look at the get a tour. I might look at a series of content that has different URLs, but is all related. I can group that stuff together. So, so there's this thing called content grouping. Again, it's in that same sort of admin area. So what I can do is I can group like content together and be able to use my reports to look at stuff related to that group, which makes sense, right? Like, 'cause sometimes, you know, just because it's not always under /admissions doesn't mean it doesn't have to do with admissions. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it can be, especially if a big site that's kind of, you know, unwieldy, it can be nice to have a content group there. So, so yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention those things. And most of those things are under that admin part. And I don't know about you, but I always like, whenever I go under this admin part, something about this screen makes me feel really stupid, or like that I'm like gonna mess something up. But like if you, but this is kind of where a lot of the important things happen. This is where your goals get set. This is where your e-commerce like finishes integrating. If you want someone like me to be able to look at your data, this is where you click on user management and you could add, you know, you can add a new person. Now they have to have, it has to be a Google login theoretically, or something that they use for Google Analytics, or else they're going to not really get very far. So, so yeah, so you can add people and you can give them certain amount of permissions related to your account. So, you know, if you just want me to be able to read something, I won't be able to create goals because I can't get to your admin area. That's where all that stuff is that we just looked at. So you can kind of look at it, and it does give like a nice, it kind of gives a nice amount. And if you wanted to like be able to have me do everything, but not be able to have me add new people to the account, you could just leave that unchecked. So you add the email address. I'll add my secret French identity. And then I click add. And what's going to happen is that new person just got an email. Like if I open my email right now, I'll be like, oh, someone just added you to GiftMDI's Google Analytics. You know, click here to see it. So anyway, you can add people that way, or you can say, you know what, I don't trust that shifty French girl, and you can just click on these dots and click remove access. Remove. And there she goes. So she got it, and now she's lost it because she didn't act fast enough.
And if you wanted to actually transfer to another administrator, is there an easy way to do that?
Well, you would have to add, so you would have to add them,
and then you basically
delete the other
yourself.
person. Yeah, exactly.
Like you were,
Right. So I would add the new person and then delete the old person once the new person is in.
Right.
Just kind of like how you add a new Facebook, you know, if you wanted to like sort of commit Facebook suicide, you would just like add the new person on your Facebook account, and then you would delete yourself once they were in. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but that's, you know, but yeah, like I said, I used to just get really nervous back here, but I'm like, you know what? It's not messing anything up. It's just, this is where all the sort of settings happen. But, and let's see if there is anything else I wanted to have deep talks about. Oh yeah, we talked about, like I said, I took some screenshots of stuff just in case, like, oh, here's that, like using the all users versus the made a purchase people. You know, our made a purchase people, like 1% of people made a purchase. So clearly they're behaving differently maybe as a group than everybody who's ever been to the site. We talked a little bit about custom dashboards. Use one someone else already made and then modify it. That's what I would recommend. Because as you see, it's not, and you can always change if you're more visual than that. You can always change that. And then, is that my last? Yeah, that's theoretically my last slide. I feel like I skipped something. Let me just check something really quick. Oh, I guess I didn't. Yeah, so I guess what we could use this remaining time for is to answer questions, or I can look at a particular person's data if they want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Sure.
Backing up to the cPanel.
Yes.
and look at the stats. Is there a way of determining the URLs, because I see the number of unique URLs hitting your site,
Mm-hmm.
and how many of those are actually bots, and how can you figure out exactly where the URLs are coming from?
Okay. In this.
And one of the things
Okay.
I've noticed in this is that there've been I've had a lot of hits from like China or overseas, and I'm kind of baffled by that because it says
Yeah.
the website I'm working with is very local.
Totally.
We have the same.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Okay. So what I'm curious about.
Yeah, like the URLs is in there.
So.
And like trying to understand the difference between the unique visitors and so forth.
Okay. So so I see what you're saying. So like if we look at this, so this is, our marketing website, and like, oh, the Russian, yes, I'm sure that people in Malaysia, some of these seem weird.
Crazy,
now, yeah. So now, hold on one second. It looks like, at least in cPanel, it breaks out the kind of known bots,
mm-hmm.
And shows them to you here. So it's showing, it looks, and like I said, I just know, I don't entirely know. Like, so if I look at the data here, and this is 202 people, I'm not sure if that's excluding the bots or not. I feel like it isn't, because I feel like that seems high. Interesting. So what's cool is, it looks like it is keeping track of the kind of known bot, the top 25 bots, but it looks like there's 65 different bots that are coming to the site, but it looks like they're hitting, this is 18,000 hits. And if we look at my traffic on the top, it's not really, so this one's 18,000, and then this other one's 18,000. This is 11,000. I don't think that's.
So it's excluded those.
I think it has excluded them. And I can't say that for sure because, again, I spent like a few kind of cursory minutes going over what was back here, but I think it would be excluded. And as you see, we see some other things too. We see like the length of visit, and what's interesting is I'm not sure how much 218 seconds is. Hold on. Simple math eludes me. 60 times 3 is 180. Yeah, so it's like a little over 3 minutes, right? Like 3 minutes and 45 seconds or something like that. But if we looked at my data before, it was more like a minute and 3 seconds or something, or a minute and 38 seconds or something like that. Here's what I always tell people is it's kind of like a scale. It's like you go to your doctor's office and you go in your bathroom, and those numbers can be wildly different. As long as you're getting on the same scale every time, it's fine. But like if I compare this traffic to my Google Analytics, it's going to look different. Mm-hmm. So,
and then something else too that I want to touch base on is what's meant by in and out.
What do you mean in and out?
Like I'm trying to figure out this word is on there, but there is a in and out on the website with the stats.
In this AW stats, there is.
Yeah, I believe so. Stats. I've just been trying to figure out what that is on the.
I don't see where in and out is. I mean, I guess entry and exit.
I'm trying to figure out if that could be like the length of time on the visit. Or the,
like what they in would be like when they entered the site, right. and out would be when they exit. Yeah. So like the entry and exit, it just might be using a different term. And there's different, like I said, different servers have different versions of this, but like pretty much like this is. This is just like a kind of typical interface, and I can see here, interesting. I'm just seeing something that like I feel like Google Analytics doesn't really measure, but that this does is PDF downloads.
PDF downloads? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just noticing that. So I have this looks like I made a sample, so 14 people last month downloaded my sample team retreat agenda. Like, okay.
Do you get their email addresses in the process?
No, because it's a PDF just sitting there. Now, what I could do if I was smart is I could put something on there and force them to give me an email address to download it. But I think I was just trying to be a nice person and be like, here's this sample retreat agenda that we use, in the company. But yeah, it looks like this excludes bots. I don't think necessarily Google Analytics does. And that's why sometimes people get a little bit overly confident with Google. They're like, oh, I get, I'm like, some of that is not real people, but
It's also interesting to look at the URLs and just trying to figure out where they're coming from.
well, the other thing, okay, so it gave us the IP addresses, right? So if we need so this one, like I'm guessing either this is yeah. So if we like
go and check it out.
So I guess what we could do is like we can usually
IP address lookup.
Oh. I don't know if this is. Oh, this is our web host. Okay, weird. Okay.
So where's that one from?
This is from our web host.
Oh.
Which I guess makes sense. Okay, let's try. Like I said, we could just like kind of look through these. I don't know. What is BYPE? I don't even know what this is.
That one's
Continent Europe.
Oh yeah, there we go. Ukraine.
Yep.
There we go. Anyway, so this is probably like, it could be someone trying to hack, or it could be a bot, or, so with like a lot of WordPress sites that we use, for example, there's like a plugin called WordFence. And what we can do is if people try to log in unsuccessfully more than 5 times, we can just completely block their IP address. So we can do stuff like that on our end too.
That's one of the things I've noticed that with some of the websites I've been experimenting with, getting a lot of logins.
Yes.
And I don't know where they're coming from, but they're not legitimate.
Well, and what's interesting is like, if they're logging in, like what can they even see? Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's nothing there.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you're logging in as a user. Like, okay, so like you're basically seeing like you can make a profile and you can't do anything else because it's not like you have the access level to like do any admin stuff. I know, like, there's a couple of clients like you guys that I'm just like I don't even
15 at a time.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can take your WordFence filters and jack them up.
It surprised me how many logins I had in the database. I couldn't do anything with it because it's too full. So I had to delete them out and do expansion. And
yeah, no, it's definitely, like I said, it's and part of this too is like you said, like understanding that some of these people are hackers or just trying to send a lot of traffic to like crash your site or whatever. And so we have to kind of discount them, but as long as we keep getting on the same scale, the same amount of them, I guess, are going to continue to exist and not go a little bit up. But yeah, this stats thing, like I said, whenever I log in, like my eyes kind of bleed, but at the very least, like we have something. That's kind of what I tell people when they first start working with me. Is like, okay, well, let's look at what you have, versus like, oh, we didn't put Google Analytics on our site when we launched it 4 years ago. Okay, well, let's not worry about it.
It's not going to start tracking until you get that
little snippet of code in. Exactly. That's when the stopwatch starts. Jane, do we have any questions from, okay. Yeah. Okay. They seem, no, it's okay. Yeah, sure. It's okay. Yeah.
So is there anywhere on Google Analytics where it will track your search bar and what people type in?
It used to, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
That's why you'll notice a lot of like not set. It did have that for a long time though. And they got rid of that. I think probably,
You have to pay for it probably.
I think what they want to do is not give you so much data that you can spend very little money with Google AdWords. I think that was what they want you to use their AdWords tool to be able to search for keywords and bid on them and stuff like that. So you can see some stuff. So like if we go under acquisition. Oh wait, hold on. Search Console. Hey, Search Console. I'm just curious. Fine. Okay. Track overview. Then let's go organic search, and then let's see. I bet you not see like a majority is not provided, and with a lot of people I work with, it gives you some, but definitely a lot of stuff is not provided. It's so interesting. Can you pack a picnic lunch to Acadia? Oh, a lot of people looking up trash. I'm just kidding. 2 people looking up trash. Not a lot.
It's out of date again.
Yeah. I know.
Parking.
We wrote a blog post about how the transfer stations work, because we had a guy up here and he just moved here and was like, so how does trash work here? And I was like, that's a really good question, because like if you you don't know transfer stations where you bring your trash, and that different ones have like slightly different rules to them. So we wrote a 2-part, Jane wrote a 2-part expose about it, and it's one of the top 3 most visited pages on our website.
So you answered one question, which was actually, that's a great question, but
Yeah.
actually the question I was thinking of is
Okay.
different. If someone's on your site
Uh-huh.
and they use your search bar to find something within your site, is there a way to know what they are looking for? Like maybe it's not prominent enough, and maybe I should have put that as a menu item, like that would be helpful.
I believe so. I think it would depend what's,
So we can find out.
yeah, what software and WordPress you mean?
Yeah.
I think what we'd have to do is have some kind of, but if they're searching your site, I don't see why you couldn't track the words they were typing in. I think you just have to set something up. I think you'd have to
But
set
it's
some
not
kind
a
of
Google
logging.
Analytics thing. It's like
I
a plugin or
don't
something. Okay.
I don't think so. It might be a WordPress plugin, and it might integrate with, you know what I mean? Just like the same way that the e-commerce thing
Right,
does
so
it.
that
It might need to
system
log
will
those
tell you,
words. Yeah,
like, here's where they had to go to get
Yeah.
to that page.
yeah,
If it was through your search bar.
yeah, yeah.
Or could you just set them up to track the individual pages?
Well, I mean, you can see what pages people get. You can see that people got to your site and then they looked at these pages, but you don't know whether they, I mean, you would see if okay, so how can people navigate to different types of content on your site? They can click on tags. So if you've tagged stuff, they can, so we'd be able to see like, okay, did they click on tags to get there? Probably not. Okay, and and then we can also ascertain, okay, they came in on this page, they looked at an average of 3 pages and left on this page. Then we might be able to say, okay, they didn't click on tags, they stayed on our site for the aggregate person stayed on our site for 3 pages. So maybe they used our search.
You don't know how they, right.
Well, I mean, the other thing too, I will say, is you can actually have software that like heat maps your site, and like you can see like, are people clicking on the search bar and are they typing in and all that. And again, I believe that would be like a certain paid thing, because it would just be, because I always think like, okay, the amount it would take to track that is probably not something Google feels like it should offer for free. So, but I don't see if it's on your own site and you were just logging what people typed in. I mean, with us, we log when someone tries to get to a URL and they get a 401 error. So like if I can see like, oh, they keep typing breakingevents.com/Jane, I was like, okay, 33 people tried to get to Jane from that URL. Maybe I should just make a redirect to get people right there. So if I can log that, if I can log error pages and I can log all this, I don't see why I couldn't log what was in the search bar, but you probably have to set it up. I don't think it automatically tracks that, but I think it would be like a WordPress plugin. But I don't see why I couldn't integrate with your, yeah. Does anybody have any data that they want me to look at it of theirs and want to just give me temporary admin access like I showed you, and we can look at stuff? It's okay if not. I know our data, it's like getting naked. That's why I'm showing you mine. And that's why for that one client, you know, you'll notice I put a little gray bar over so you didn't see who they were, you know, so yeah.
I would, but I don't have access.
Oh, to your Google Analytics? Do you know who does?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And they could add you.
Yes.
Okay, if you have a Gmail or whatever account, just have them add you as an admin. If they won't, junk it and start over. Because it's hard to, like, if someone else set it up and they're being a jerk about adding you, it's kind of hard to, it sounds like they're not necessarily being a jerk. They just haven't added you yet. Yeah. So just saying, if they're jerky, there's no way to forcefully take it over. I guess that's all I'm throwing out there. Sadly, we dealt with that a couple of times. So
what about, you talked about remarketing
yes.
pixels. Can you target a certain segment of website users? So if you wanted to see like which group of people are going to a certain part of your website and buying something, could you then target?
Yes. Okay.
Just
Let me
to
just.
collect that data and then
Sure. And
target
I'll
them?
admit this. What happened is I set up our Google retargeting, I guess, over 180 days ago, and I didn't buy an ad, so they kicked me out. I can show you where. So if you were going to set this up, you have to make an AdWords account. I'll just show you where it is, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with a Facebook pixel, just because it'll show you the same kind of thing, but it actually has data in it. This one was like, oh, you're not going to buy ads? Fine, we're going to just make your life hard. So if you log into your Google Analytics account or your Google Ads account, so this is where you set up the marketing pixel. We'll let it load. Give it a second. Okay, so if we go to tools, it's kind of in a weird place, but like, again, the internet will, so it's like, it's pissed that I'm not giving it a credit card. And it's like, so if I go to tools and then audience manager, I can, let's see if it shows me data or if it's still mad at me. Oh yeah. So I can see that what I made all visitors, and it's like, oh, similar, closed. Like, it's just really mad at me because I'm not buying stuff. But let me just show you, just with this, a similar, I just wanted to show you how to navigate to it. You'll set it up, it'll give you snippet code, you put it on your site. I guess buy an ad within 180 days so it doesn't like get all pissed at you. But Facebook has also a marketing pixel, and I guess I do more with that. So let me just show you just what that looks like so that you know what I mean. So, oh, come on. Oh, come on. Yep. Okay, business manager. Oh, what? Hold on. Where is my pixels? Where are my pixels? Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay. I was like, there should be like this menu that goes across the whole screen and showing me two things. Freaks me out. Okay, so I have pixels on a couple of websites. I will say with Facebook, if you're going to put pixel on more than one site, make yourself an agency. I get that you're not an agency, but you can put up to 10 pixels on up to 10 different websites if you're an agency versus if you're an individual, you can only make one pixel. Things I learned the hard way. It took me a while to figure that one out. Let me, come on, let's pull up some data. It's thinking. Now, of course, it's not going to tell you who these people are. It's just going to give you a number. And what you need to do is you need to kind of create like remarketing events. So the basic remarketing event is they visited the website. If you wanted to track other things, you make a separate thing for like put something in the cart. You make a separate tracking thing for put something in the cart. You make a separate thing for made a purchase. You make a separate thing for looked at 10 pages or more. And sorry, this is taking a second here. Come on. Just close some of this stuff here. Come on. Oh, Facebook. Okay, this may take a moment. Okay, it's like saying, Nicole, chill out. There we go. Okay, so here's Gift MDI. So we've got a pixel on that site. And as you see, I'll have a couple of top events, but it's showing it for 7 days, but it'll keep data for a while. Let's go into this pixel here. So now what I can do, so I have page view and I have contact, they filled out the contact form. I guess it's not, why is it not tracking purchases? Weird. Anyway, it was tracking purchases a second ago. Just put it on my list of things to do. Anyway, so what I can do if I wanted to is I can create an ad to this audience. And so let's say, you know, I could take out an ad, like a common ad if someone makes a purchase is a thank you ad. So you could take out a thank you ad to everybody who's made a purchase and invite them back to buy something else or buy a gift certificate for a friend or something like that. You know, so you can take out different ads for these different kinds of people. And Google works the same way. Their remarketing pixel works the same way. You generate it, you put it on your site. And as you can see I can target, you know, the thousand-ish people that have a Facebook account that have been to my website in the last 30 days.
No, that would be email?
No, this is a Facebook ad.
Oh, a Facebook.
Yeah, right? So I can take out a Facebook ad.
Okay.
So what Facebook wants to do is give you options to take out more ads. And what Google wants you to do is also give you an option to take out more ads. So you can make the same, we can see the same kind of data with Google AdWords, and we can take out a Google ad to those people. We have to pay for the ad, and we can't see who they are. That's how they've designed it. So anyway, and you can use that little tag manager like extension, and you can see what sites actually have targeting on if you're just curious of who's spying on you. Jane, it sounds like there's a question from
Actually,
the internet. Okay.
Being a complete beginner, I still need to add my ID tags to the website.
Okay.
How do I do that?
Oh, for the Google Tag Manager, or for the?
I think for the
Okay.
analytics. Let me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So what you're gonna do? Let's make just a clean. So we're gonna log into Google Analytics. Gonna sign in. Okay, sure.
No, I
Okay. Well, no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going through this very briefly anyway. If she has a question, maybe someone watching this later on also has the same question. So I want to add a new website. Hold on. My computer's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Okay, hold on. No, I don't want to send feedback.
I'm not sure how to write tracking codes IDs.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, so once you create it, hold on, I'm having
I think she needs to actually
to add it to the website.
Load to get into Google.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so as you see here on my screen, this is my Google ID, this UA91961255594-1. Now, what most people will do is, if you're logged into your website, and I'm not sure what kind of software she's running. I haven't logged into this website in a while. Just gonna warn you. So if there's a lot of error messages, just ignore it. All right. Cobbler's Kid. Okay. So with most people, what I recommend them doing, hold on. Where is Google Analytics on here? Analytics. Did I put in a template? That seems like a dumb place to put it, but it might be under. Okay, what most people do is they'll put the snippet of code Google gives you, which is I just want to see an example of it. Okay. It always makes you feel kind of like an amazing person when you go under here. So as you see, this is the Google Analytics code that we're going to put on our website. You'll notice that it says create, and then it's like this UA dash something dash XXX dash Y. Well, as we see here, there is my XXX/Y. So hold on. So what I can do is I can take this code. Let me put it in Notepad or something. I have no idea what's in TextEdit either. Got a new document. Okay, perfect. I'm like, and so I'm gonna just take my code. I have no short-term memory, 9612. $5594-1. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is take this code and I need to put it above my heading tag. Yeah, whatever. I don't wanna start with, hold on, I hate it when they force you to go on a tour. I don't wanna go on a tour. How about, hold on. It's really helpful to just yell at your computer in the middle of a presentation. Let me just force go through this tour against my will. End tour, perfect. So most templates have a header area.
Straight ahead on that.
That's not loading. And what you would do is you would just stick the code in the header. Oh, come on. Or not. You would just take that and paste it into the line.
So does it create there's a box in there, put it in?
Yeah, exactly. There's a box, it's just not loading because that's my day today. The other thing that you can do if you want something a little bit easier is you can add what's called some kind of, most software, whether it's Shopify or whatever, has some kind of Google. As you can see, it already like wants me to type it in, probably because I've been working on a Google Analytics. So what I can do is I can just like Google Analytics dashboard, I can just add this in and I can put my code, my little
And how are those different? Google Analytics dashboard.
it's just a matter of, I guess, what you like to look at. It's just kind of like, I don't know, like it's just a matter of taste, I guess. Like, I don't know.
It's like a dashboard that's like a pre-made dashboard that you're like.
Yeah. So I'm just activating this GA Google Analytics. I've literally never looked at this. So
It puts it on your dashboard in your WordPress site. So when you log into your WordPress site, you'll see.
Oh yeah, you can have that. Yeah.
A snippet of the dashboard because I didn't have to use that.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So plug in settings. So look, it wants my tracking ID.
Yeah.
And then I just click whatever, and see, oh look, custom objects. That's probably where those make a purchase and all that would go in, custom stuff, save changes, and you're tracking it on your site. So if you have an old school HTML site or something like that, you can take this code that I just generated here and put it on somehow on every page of your website. And most people, like I said, there's a template and there's something called a header, which you put it in the header tag, you just paste this in there. And the other way to do it is just use a third party thing like we just did here, which is a Google Analytics thing. And you type in your unique code and you press save and it starts tracking. So either way works. But the one that we're using here that we're looking at on my screen here is it lets you maybe like do things like shows it while you're logged into your website. So that's like an added benefit, but they both track.
Okay, that's much more simple. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. I didn't mean to make it sound complicated. Just, it's literally like a file, I would charge someone, 15 billable minutes to add this to their website. So, $30 or something.
Do you own my Google Analytics? Are you like
No.
the admin, or you just made it and put me as the admin?
I made it and put you as the admin.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
So I
equally
just
own it.
sign
We
with my-
co-own
with my
it, and
Google
if you,
account.
yeah, exactly. And if you were like, bye Nicole, you just delete me off, and it's done. I'm just saying you just go, just
I
because
can
someone
do that
sets it up
forever.
doesn't mean they have to own it forever.
Yeah.
You can just
I feel safe with you there.
Get rid of another admin or something.
So what you noticed is in this when I add a new person, so like if I'm going under user management, again, don't be afraid of that little gear. You are a badass coder now. You're going to click this plus sign, you're going to add your user, and you have to type in the email address on the top, but these 3 check boxes let people do stuff. Just don't check off this manage users one, and they can't delete you off. So just don't check off that last one. Otherwise, they can kick you off. They have the same power as you do. But this means they can make goals. They can go in and they can make customized dashboards for you and all that. They just don't have the power. Now they have all the power. Now they don't have all the power.
So basically,
All the power,
you
not all
choose
the power.
whether you make them God or not.
Exactly. You can choose if you just want to make them a little, I don't know, demigod or half god or a or a full god. But with most people, I keep this, I make it so they can delete me off. To me, it's like they own the website, so I just set it up. Most people don't take me off because they occasionally want me to go in and look at stuff, but yeah, you don't have to make anybody God. Is it everything you dreamed it would be? I'm just kidding. Is there any other things we want to look at, or the world is your oyster? You collect that data, that sweet, sweet data, and you know, and you can use it to make good decisions. You know, I've seen people who, like I said, decide on ad buys with it. I've seen people, you know, decide like, okay, we need to step up our Facebook stuff, or, oh, a lot of people looked at this content about trash. Maybe we should do a second one. I'm just kidding. But it can really like help you, I guess, make a lot of decisions and potentially save you a lot of money. In particular with things like bed and breakfast and stuff like that, they like pay to be. Oh my God, I just had this one and they were like, we want to be a select registry or whatever. And it was like $700 a year to be part of this thing. And then we looked at it and we saw that it sent like 12 visitors and that none of them had booked. There you go. I just saved you $700 a year, unless you just want to say you are, and that's fine. If you're just doing it for vanity, that I'm not judging. It's okay. Just don't think it's getting you anything. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting how different business owners will find something different to track that's important to them.
Yeah.
It's work for them.
Yeah.
So one guy that I was talking with who has a restaurant was interested in knowing which one of his waiters or waitresses served a particular dish the most.
Oh yeah, with their POS system, you mean?
Right.
They were able to see that? Yeah.
Yeah, so things like that I found interesting, how different people just pick out something that they found interesting to track.
Well, and it's interesting too with, a lot of people don't think, but with Google AdWords, you can actually turn them on and off based on what time of day it is.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my friends does Google AdWords stuff, and he worked with a local restaurant that only does dinner. And so they would turn on their ads to anybody that was physically within like 10 miles of Bar Harbor, who was looking for this kind of thing between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. On the days that they were open. So they can like use these ads and have them they don't have to be turned on all the time. They can be turned on sometimes, which is like kind of interesting. So you can actually do stuff like that with them too. Kind of encourage people who are physically near you to come in.
That's one thing I found so aggravating. We're trying to research a computer issue.
Yeah.
And people's ads keep popping up. And I thought I had all the ad blockers turned off. Yeah.
I know I have an ad blocker on here and it gets kind of mad at me if I go to certain websites and they're like, but we make our revenue with ads. And I'm like, okay, so I will give you the exception. I understand. You created this valuable article for me to like how to do something. So let me throw you some money via like the company that's showing you ads. But yeah, so that's why you can get those. Yep. So it doesn't have to be big companies. You can be creepy too. You can remarket to people just like the big companies do. All of us can be creepy.
Just finding a need and figuring out a way to get to people.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you mentioned there. I found was an interesting thing. I'm trying to figure out how the coding is done for this. Is by taking your location and getting like cities within 10 miles of your location. That is a piece of code that I'm curious about.
Oh, no, did I?
Oh, no.
Oh,
good.
good.
Yeah, well, so within Google, when you take out a Google ad, like one of the things you can do in the AdWords interface is you can take out, it'll take you through the steps. And one of the things it'll do is it'll say, okay, do you have a geographic specificness? And then like you can put a zip code in or whatever and do a certain amount of like mileage within the zip code. And then you can, further.
I wonder if that's connected to the APIs for Google Maps.
It could be. And the other thing too is like if I'm on, so I'm connected to this Wi-Fi and this Wi-Fi is definitely here. Do you know what I mean? Or like I'm on a mobile device and it's pinging a tower. So it's not something necessary. Yeah. Who knows how they freaking collect it? It's kind of creepy.
Because getting your location, that's a privacy part, but then getting the direction to the point that you put in.
Yeah.
So like, you go to a website or a store and you say, locate the store within 50 miles of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's interesting. Well, and sometimes too, like, so I'm back and forth between two places and sometimes I'll be here and it'll start like, it's confused that I've like driven 500 miles and it's like, oh, let's serve you up. And I'm like, no, I'm not there anymore. I'm here now. And it like takes a second for it to catch up. But, or it'll be like, oh, like I'll do a status update and it'll be like, oh, Nicole is in Southwest Harbor right now. And I'm like, how does it think I'm here, but anyway, who knows? But yeah, so there's, like I said, there's multiple ways to add the code. And then, what I tell most people is it could be you're sitting through this workshop and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've been run over by a truck. Just add this to your website or pay someone to. And then at the end of the season or at the end of the year, when you care about it, you could run a report and use it to make decisions for the coming year or whatever. So, but yeah, at least turn the stopwatch on, because, you can't go back and get it, but you can always decide you don't care about it and throw the stopwatch out at any point. But
when you turn on the stopwatch, do you need to tell the program what data to collect, or will it just
exactly? Well, no, I mean, yeah. So what I would do is I would add, and I was trying to figure out kind of how to do this as we were sitting here. I was like, okay, if I was going to add a new website, so here's all my accounts. I'm just curious if I wanted to add. I'm just looking for an add new or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were building a brand new one and there was nothing back here, so hold on, I'm just like, okay.
You've got another question when you get caught up.
Yeah, sure. When I get caught up. I know, right? It's like, I'm just looking for, stop redirecting me to my existing profiles. I want to make a new one.
Because that's the main thing I just want to capture on this question is when you set it up, what you need to set up so you can go back and track it later.
So let me just, hold on. I love Googling stuff in front of people. Okay.
I found myself doing a lot of that.
Property.
The URL.
Right. Okay. So Google Analytics admin account. Okay. Okay. I just need to see where to click because I was like, okay. Okay. So it's under admin, like everything else. And then it's create new account. And then I want to track, I want to track a website. And let's say I want to call it, and it's funny because, a lot of these solutions are built, let me zoom this in a little more. A lot of these are made for much larger companies than ours. So you have an account name and then different properties. So for example, we have Anchorspace and then we could have multiple Anchorspace websites. But sometimes your, account name and your website name are the same. And then now a note as you're setting this up is tracking HTTP versus HTTPS is different. Right. So, just, I will say something to think about is that, so HTTPS is what's called a secure certificate. And you have to have one if you're selling anything online because you don't want people to put their credit card information in something that's not encrypted because that's not safe. So what I tell people to do is most web hosts have what's called a Let's Encrypt secure certificate. It's free. And it automatically renews itself. So ask your host if they have one and just put it on your website. With Gift MDI for the first 6 months, we were just loading only the checkout page in HTTPS and our Google score was kind of low. And so one night I was just messing around with it and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna load the whole site in HTTPS and my Google score jumped up 30 points. I'm like, wow, that is the easiest Google gain I've ever had for the least amount of work I've ever done. So it's seen as more secure. Google likes your site better. And you can, like I said, if you have the right web host, you can just get one that automatically renews itself. So you don't have to pay.
Switch from HTTP, switch from the unsecure site to secure. It's just a matter of adding a certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so, yeah, and like I said, you can buy a secure certificate. So if, for example, people like GoDaddy, I'm like, okay, here's the thing with GoDaddy. Your domain costs $1, but they're going to charge you for everything, and you have to buy their secure certificate for it to work on your website. Oh, and it only costs $40. Okay, just pay a little bit more for a nice web host that doesn't suck, and you can get a Let's Encrypt. And see, as you see, it's free. So it's been this big push that we want websites to be more secure and we don't want it to be a cost barrier for people to be able to do that on their sites. So like I said, ask your provider. A lot of them have this. If you, Svaha is who we use to host our site. They offer them for free. as do a lot, as does SiteGround, as does Bluehost and HostGator, and lots of other providers have signed on to offer this because it's something that they saw that was a need. So anyway, sorry, didn't need to go on that tangent here. So we're setting up our new property. Okay, there we go. Nicole's Amazing Cakes. And I went and I installed a secure certificate on my fake website. So there it is.
If
Yeah.
you did have, like, for instance, with your businesses,
Mhm.
you set up a parent account, basically, and
Yeah.
you have all your businesses underneath that.
You could, but you can just also call it the same, the account name versus the website. It might be the same thing. I'm just saying that you could have multiple websites under one account. Yes. But most people, that's overkill. So, and then we're going to say that we're in the, because, cakes. And then it's going to ask me about my time zone, because part of what it's telling me, the data-wise, is like, oh, are people looking at it in the morning or the afternoon? It kind of helps to know what time zone I'm in. So it's assuming I'm in Los Angeles, which is not true. And then it says, oh, what about our sharing stuff? So, sure. I don't know. If you want to read the fine print of all this stuff, you're certainly welcome to. I feel like Google's watching me. I guess I don't really care. And as you see here, there is a maximum amount of accounts that you can access. So I'm actually not going to, so what I would just, which I'm not going to do here, I'm just going to, if I would click get tracking ID, it would spit out basically what we have here,
Right.
but with a different number. So yeah, so that's, I guess, how you do
get
it.
the code.
Yes, that's how you get the code.
That answers my question.
Okay, sorry for like being.
But then I would like to kind of move on to the next question.
Yeah.
The Google AdWords,
Mhm.
so like they give you a free $100.
If you spend they give you free $150 if you spend $150.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's a catch.
They figured that out. So what happens is they used to send people like me free Google. They'd be like, oh, here's $100 for free. What I do is when I launched a new website, I would just throw 25 or $50 at the new website to just give it some initial traffic, But now what they've done is they figured out that people like me were hoarding those and kind of using them like that. So now you have to spend $150 to get, yeah. I just noticed that lately. All the ones I've gotten in the mail, you have to spend money before you have to spend the same amount of money before you get that amount of money for free. I know, they're sneaky like that.
So really, is there any advantage in buying AdWords?
Well, there is, like I said. So if you're a restaurant and you're trying to get people to come in for happy hour and you take out the ad from 4 to, whatever, to the people in Bar Harbor, and you get more people to come in, you know what I mean? Like, the other thing too that my friend who does,
about the AdWords, just what does Google do with the AdWords?
It's so if someone is searching for restaurants near me or someone's searching
so
for a happy hour or something like that.
Sure they pop up in that area.
Exactly. Now, the other thing too is people always think of AdWords as the little tiny text that's in the sidebar of the website or in the top of your Google search, right? That says ad next to it. But if you think about Google, it has a whole display network. Google owns YouTube, for example.
Mhm.
Google owns like all of these properties. And so what my friend recommends that you do if you feel like you have the skill set for it is if you think about it, when you watch YouTube videos, there's almost no local ads. Did you notice that? And the thing with Google Ads is you only pay if someone watches your whole video. So if you click skip, that person is not paying for that ad. So if you feel comfortable, what you could do is make an ad for your services, make the first 10 seconds interesting enough so if people only see that and press skip, they still see your business, but you're not paying for that unless they watch the whole thing. So a lot of people don't feel like it's really easy to just open up Google AdWords and type in a headline and your Google ad haiku, you know what I mean? Of your 3 lines, and then the URL. That's really easy to do, but a lot of people don't feel like designing the nice banner ad, or they don't feel like designing a little video clip that would go on YouTube or something like that.
So just focus on the heading and skip the rest.
Right. Well, I'm just saying if you're willing to do a little bit of extra work that most people aren't willing to do, you can kind of get some cheap ads.
Right.
So, and yeah, I've seen people be really successful with Google Ads. The problem is they're always coming out with new stuff. So in terms of sort of lines I've drawn in the sand for myself with my career, I guess I picked Facebook ads to get really good at. So I'm just telling you that these Google ads exist and stuff like that. And I've seen them work for other people. My brain is just probably how you guys feel. My brain is just kind of full, and keeping up with all of Google's new products is not a super high priority for me. But I do have a few friends who are like Google AdWords certified, and I'm happy to send you their way, you know, to do the ad spends. It's not something feel like I'm super effective at, so I'm just not gonna offer it. If you want Facebook stuff, let me know. But the Google AdWords, just know that if you're willing to design some creative and you're willing to be really specific with your audience, it can work really well. I've seen it work really well for people, even restaurants that have a really low, you know what I mean, profit margin in terms of like the product that they sell. So yeah, just don't think of Google as just the AdWords. There's all kinds of, they call it AdWords for the little, but there's all kinds of other stuff under that Google bundle that most people don't think about. So anything else from the internet or otherwise? Okay. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great.